What's up guys, Anklespankin here, and today we are doing a bit of a different kind of video. This is going to be obviously starting in Champion Select, and this is going to be a video where you guys probably won't really need to watch as much as you would rather just listen. Because I'm going to spend in this game just talking to you guys over and over about, well, not over and over, but for the entire video, just about how to be a better player, how to be better in a competitive environment, things you can do to aid yourself, how you can win more solo queue games, how I win solo queue games. I want to teach you guys how I do it. And also, just tell you all the information, champions, how to play, or at least the most important things I can think of, as far as trying to get either higher ranked or push that last or end of the season grind, anything like that. So I'm just gonna be playing things that are coming off of this list that I have. I have a huge notepad of a bunch of things I wanted to say, so we'll be going over that all game. I will be playing obviously in the background, but it will not be the focus will not be on the game. There will be times where I explain what I'm doing, maybe depending on what it is. But either way, let's get started. So the first things first, I'm just gonna say this right off the bat. If you are playing any champion, no matter what it is, you should know exactly what runes and masteries you should be using on that champion. So, with the runes leaving next season, they only cost 10 IP each. You should really just buy them. There is literally no excuse to not have runes, or even like the most proper runes. Like, you should have the most proper runes for whatever champion you're playing. So, I'm going to play Annie this game. And before this game, I went on to a website called probuilds.net, which is easily my favorite website for everything. You just go onto that website, type in the champion name, and it shows all the professional players that have played that champion recently, and it shows their opponents, their build, their masteries, their runes. It shows everything. So you can just go on that, look at builds if you don't know. And yeah, I have them prepared already because I knew I was going to play Annie or one of two other champions. And let's go from there. I can show you guys that there's a Twisted Fate on the other team, and I see that I see their team. Like, they don't have a really hard team for me to play Annie into. My other options were Echo and Corki, all of which would have actually been completely fine options. Granted, I do have Nunu Jungle and Draven top, so we'll see how this goes. But it'll be totally fine. And another point that I want to make is that you should always, if you can, make sure that when you're picking champions for ranked, stay within a champion pool of champions that you're comfortable with. Always. Like, do not stray from that if you're in ranked. Do not stray from that in ranked. But, on the other hand, do feel free to counterpick. So, if you're playing in your champion pool, but still counterpicking, then that's ideal. So, Annie does do pretty well against Twisted Fate. That works out really well for me. And obviously, going into this game, I am smurfing, but that doesn't mean that you guys can't apply the same stuff I'm doing. What it means is what I'm teaching you is going to be the same stuff that you would see a high rank or a higher elo player do as second nature, right? You would see all these things that they're doing that I'm going to explain to you because they're already doing it, or I'm already doing it in my games at my rank. So just because I'm smurfing, yeah, that does put a mechanical difference. But if you're playing with mechanics alone, you are only going to get up to like low diamond, high platinum, if that. Because that's just where mechanics carries you to. After that, it's all game knowledge, knowing what to do, knowing how to win your games, and figuring things out from there. So keep that in mind. Just because I'm a smurf does not mean you cannot use all the information I will be giving you. So we'll go off of that assumption. And I just want to take a second here, start off immediately by saying that the best champions, in my opinion, for winning, especially in lower elo, are the wave clear champions and the roaming champions. Primarily the roaming champions, because they can just have so much more effect around the entire map. Not just assassins, not just whoever wins lane. The people that can roam and win multiple lanes or force, like, say, bot lane to be stronger. So, to give some specifics, and before I go into the champions, I do want to mention that personally, I have the easiest time carrying from mid lane. I do. Even though I'm an 80 carry main, when I'm playing anything below my actual rank, I have the easiest time winning in mid. That could obviously change person to person. All the roles have some sort of influence, so if you're not comfortable with mid, you can play whatever you want. Just make sure that you understand and try to apply as much of the information as you have to that role. Now, as far as champions go, I did sit down and think about a bunch of champions that I think are really good for a while, and I kind of narrowed it down to a list of champions that I really do think fit the bill for what we're doing. For, like I said, we're going with roaming champions and wave clear champions. Roaming because they can just get so far or so much of the map ahead, and wave clear because if you are in a situation where your team is behind, if you're in a situation like that, then say you're playing Anivia, say you're playing Twisted Fate, say you're playing Ziggs, or someone of that nature, you cannot get sieged on. If you are careful, you cannot get sieged on because you will just kill the wave every single time and they cannot sit there and siege on you. So if your team is behind, that gives you a wonderful opportunity to sit there and come back into the game. Now, going into specific champions here, the mid laners, I'm going to stick to mid laners. This isn't going to be all the best mid laners. This is just going to be ones that I think would work very well given the situations at hand. Because they are easy to play champions, and it's pretty simple to understand where they're effective. And I'll explain to you guys briefly on some of them how they would be effective. So, starting off, probably the best champion in my opinion for all this is Veigar. Veigar is phenomenal. You sit there and you push out mid, run straight bottom. Every single time. I made a video of it recently. If you guys do or did not see that, do go watch it because it's exactly the build I'm talking about. It's a Riven jungle. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. But Veigar is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So definitely one to consider. And I don't know about this. Okay. Oh no. Oh boy. Going on though, more champions. Malzahar, Kennen, who else did I write down? Galio, Ziggs, Annie, Lux, Syndra, and Corki. So I think all these champions are basic to some very good degree, and they're good at one of the two things I said. Annie is very good at roaming. Syndra is very good at roaming and getting picks and ganking. Ziggs, wave clear, Galio, both. Corki, kind of both. But I was also putting Corki on this list because he's such a good champion for scaling. Because Corki just scales so damn hard. It's amazing. It's actually absurd. So, did include him on this list. And he's really good at roaming with his package. So, he's not the best wave clear, but pretty damn good. Anyways, I also wrote down a couple other champions that I was talking about. If you're comfortable mechanically, then you can play these champions as well, because I know some people are lower elo just because they have literally no information about the game, or you're all just so confident that you want to play the higher skill cap champions. And the ones I could think of that were more under that category were like Ahri, Diana, Echo, Talon, Yasuo, Kassadin fell under there, but you gotta really understand Kassadin to be really good with him. Vladimir also falls under that category. Vladimir is one of my personal favorite carries in lower elo, but he's pretty tough to play well. Same with Lucian, surprisingly enough. You guys know how much I love Lucian, but I acknowledge that he's not the easiest champion. So, I'm gonna go back here soon. But I also wrote down, if you guys do not want to play mid, I wrote down other roles as well. This isn't just a mid lane exclusive thing. I wrote down a couple champions in each of the other roles. If you want to play 80 carry, go for Xayah, Twitch, or Varus. If you want to play, wow, that hit me. If you want to play top lane, I thought Maokai, Riven, Tryndamere, and Cho'Gath would be the ones that really fit the bill there. As far as jungle, Vi, of course, comes to mind because she's a very powerful early ganker, can just have a staggering amount of presence. Ezreal, same boat. Sejuani, Gragas, Amumu, Jarvan, all these guys really stuck out to me, and ba-boom, get a free kill just like that. See, that's kind of what Annie does, just to, you know, kind of distract you guys from what's going on here. And that's kind of what Annie does. She explodes. But jungle, like I said, Vi, Ezreal, Sejuani, Gragas, Amumu, Jarvan. Really powerful early gankers and people that make generally powerful tanks. So those are the people that I would consider to be probably the best junglers. And as far as support, I thought Leona, Blitzcrank, Alistar, Soraka. Now, if you're noticing, most of these champions, as far as the jungle and support ones, have something in common. The roaming. The power that they can bring to the table in other areas. And that's what's very important about it. Because if you're a support, you shouldn't just be sitting bottom the entire game. You shouldn't be doing that. You should take your advantage of your massive CC that you bring and just run to other lanes real fast. That's why I think Leona, Blitzcrank, Alistar are really good. And then Soraka is just fucking Soraka. I mean, Ardent Sensor was nerfed, but it's still pretty powerful, especially on Soraka. And you just play super passive. And, oh boy, he's dead. But you just play super passive, and that's all you gotta do. So, I can't really, I wish I could help that guy. But, let's go on to the next stuff. I went over the champions in each role, talking about those kind of things. Now, let's start to talk about more general game mechanics, rather than just champions and, you know, what it's about. Let's see, what I talk about first. So, as far as people wondering, like, yeah, how do you win games though? Because so many people will sit there and tell me over and over and over again, well, it's impossible for me to win because, well, my fucking team is inting every single game. How am I supposed to win when every single game they feed? Well, I guarantee you that's not the issue. Every single game, you will not have teams that feed literally every single game. That's just not how it works. So, do keep in mind that, yes, there will be completely unwinnable games. There will be. I'm not saying those don't happen. But I am saying that if you're saying that you are stuck in an elo, I hate to break it to you, you might be the issue. This isn't me trying to say, haha, you suck. No, it's just one thing that people have to acknowledge is that sometimes they are not as perfect as they think they are. You are not the perfect pretty little princess, and it's not always going to be your team that's holding you back. Yes, there will be unwinnable games, 100%, certainly. But if you sit there and blame your team every single time a loss happens, you will never see what you are doing wrong yourself. Do remember that because too many people forget it. So that's a really good idea. And on that note, you should probably, if you feel like you did really well in a game, or even if you feel like you did really bad, you can go into the replay system on League, on the client, and just make sure that you watch over that replay. Try and figure out what you were doing wrong or what you were doing right, so you can work on it or emphasize it. So do remember all that jazz. I'm back in here due to the fact that this is a siege wave. Twisted Fate's gonna, actually, I don't need to back here. Never mind. Never mind. No need to back yet. I can just keep on playing passive here. Wait, he's not pushing immediately. Whatever. Whatever. So, as far as how to win games though, right? How to win games. Because, yeah, there's not going to be a key to just win every single game. I could sit here and just be like, oh, yeah, you killed the Nexus. But that doesn't help anybody, and that just makes me look like a dick. So, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. There are two really main ways that I win games. I either win it through just straight up overwhelming power, which you guys have seen a multitude of times. And yeah, it happens. Like, you just win straight up because you're murdering fools so hard. But when you're doing the overwhelming power style of victory, you go for things that will sit there and... Ooh, I'm not going to be able to get in range of that stun. So, you go for things... Ooh, good flash. Good flash. Come on. Oh, that exhaust, dude! Come on, bear slap, bear slap, bear slap. It's not working. It ain't working. He ain't falling for it. He ain't getting jiggy with it. Anyways, let's go ahead and get out of here, though. Back to what I was talking about. Overwhelming power. What was the other thing? Map control. Map control is the other one you'll be looking at. Because sometimes you just won't get some tremendous lead in game. Happens. You just won't. Sometimes it won't happen. So what do? You do roaming. I haven't been able to roam this game due to the fact that Twisted Fate has just been shoving mid harder than a pregnant lady. I'm also not even moving out of the base. My bad. But now it looks like I'll lose my tower, so I don't have much to defend. I can go roam for free. For free. So that much is good. That much is definitely hunky-dory. But overwhelming power does not just mean, oh, I'm brute forcing everybody down everywhere. Or it doesn't mean I'm just sitting there like, okay, say I'm a mid laner, I get a kill on my mid laner solo. I don't just go back to mid lane and sit there and constantly try and kill him. Like, yeah, you do want to go mid and try and kill your opponent multiple times, but there does come a point where that's not the effective route to take anymore. If you kill someone so many times, they literally become worth less than like 4 minions. So you don't want to do that. So what do you do instead? How do you push a lead with your overwhelming power? You take it elsewhere. Always. You always, that will reign true for as long as I live. You take an overwhelming power elsewhere, and then suddenly you can use it for so much more. Now I'm strong. Twisted Fate's getting a kill here. Ooh, baby. Oh no, baby. What is you two doing? I have my flash, I have my ult, and boom! Get them both. Easy peasy. And just like that, get them both. Twisted Fate's still up here. I actually don't think I want to go after him, because in this situation, we're going to get to this topic soon, but this is going to be about lane control. Because since their bot laners just died, and I know that this is a full wave and a half that I can shove under their tower, and I also see my bot laners going mid now, I want to stay down here, push this wave out, get the minions, get the tower, get something cracked open. And now Tibbers will tank this super easy. The only person that could be even coming towards me right now is the Riven. And I only say that because I wasn't paying attention to the map. So, no idea where she was, but there goes that tower. I could have waited for the tower to try and kill some of the minions, just so I can really get them a little messed up. But no need to. So let's go back. Let us go back. Now that we have done that, and go back to talking about the overwhelming power. You guys just saw an example of it. I'm huge. What do? I go straight bottom as soon as I get an opportunity to, and then, well, I got 2 kills and a tower. Just like that. It's really simple to do, especially with champions like Annie, who have a very easy time doing things like this. So, do not underestimate the power of a good old roam. You'll be doing it a lot. You'll be doing it a lot. It's so good. And after that, obviously that makes my other laners stronger. That makes me stronger if it's a successful roam. It does a lot of things for the good of winning the game. Now this Teemo is level 11 and he's pushing this in. I'm going to throw this. What the fuck? What the this guy's... He's a god. Okay, so I assumed that would be fine to walk past here because he was throwing the little... what's it called? Mushroom past here. But, I guess there was another one right on top of it. So, mistakes happen. This puts me at another point. Don't tilt. It's like the worst thing you can do. It is absolutely one of the worst things you can possibly do in a game of League of Legends. Because as soon as you tilt, you stop thinking. And you keep doing worse and worse mistakes at all times. That is how it happens. That's how it works. Try to avoid it. Because I could look at this game and say, oh, fuck. My Draven top is 0-4-2. I hate him. Report this guy after the game. But no. Like, why? Who does that benefit? Doesn't benefit anybody. I guarantee you he didn't go into this game thinking, I'm gonna fuck my teammates. No. This guy just wanted to play Draven top. Like, that wasn't his plan. It just happened. People have bad games. It happens. So, no reason to tilt. Nothing to go off of. If you lose a game, it's okay. It's completely okay. Don't worry about it. You will not win all of your games. No matter how good you are, you will not win every single game you play. So, just a little food for thought there. Talking about one thing that I was thinking about right now, CSing is crazy important. Obviously, as a support, it's not as important as, you know, say, other lanes. But it is pretty damn important. So let's go ahead and just go, ooh, 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 I missed that horribly. That was a really good dodge on Riven's part there. But she did. Sleep tight, girl. Anyways, had that stun prepped. Go jump on him. Easy peasy. And CSing, crazy important. My CS is decent in this game. It's not perfect. 138 at 17 minutes is not perfect. But it's not bad. And he's right. We want the Infernal Drake. Objectives over kills. Ooh, someone's already on it. Oh, they already got it. Wait, who's the jungler? Yeah, it was Riven. I was going to say, we did kill their jungler, right? Yeah, we did. Okay, bummer. Well, that was a really good call on their team then. A really good call on their part then. To go straight for that. So, good thinking. There's nothing else to say. That was just good thinking. But objective control, way, way, way important. Map control obviously is important, but objective control, they kind of go hand in hand. Map control usually refers to more like, say, you're thinking wards, right? If you're thinking more about the vision control, I kind of think that's synonymous with map control. I could just be totally wrong, but that's how I've always understood it, and that's how it's always been explained to me. But map control leads to objective control, so vision is really important. Just because you're not a support doesn't mean you shouldn't buy control wards. You should definitely buy control wards, regardless of what role you are. They're so good. They are so damn good. They will save your ass. Demetrius is a homie. Do not forget, he's been there for you since day one. You just always chose to not give him a real chance. So we go back here. I pushed out that bot wave. Yeah, it's pushing. Good. Good. So let's see. Oh yeah, duoing. That is a huge, huge factor. Duoing is so important. I know I don't usually duo going into my Smurf games, and that actually alone makes me win a lot less of them. Because if you're only one player that knows what they're doing, that the difference between one player knowing what they're doing and two players knowing what they're doing is staggering. It is a tremendous difference on how a game will turn out. And even if you're not doing with a Smurf, even if you're not the Smurf yourself, you don't have to be Smurfing to win these games. I'll say it once before, I'll say it a million more times. You do not need to be Smurfing to win these games. Promise, I promise completely. But if you are duoing, ooh, do we have a new challenger? Alright, get her with the stun. And let's see. Ooh, I have Nunu coming over here. Whoa. Goodness gracious. Alright, let's see. And boom. That's some good stuff. But it's just not, it doesn't benefit you in any way to play a game solo. I only do it because I have no friends. Or at least I have no friends that wouldn't absolutely destroy these games, because I'm a good player. I will not sit here and toot my own horn about it or anything like that, because I'm not like, holy shit, this guy is a god kind of level of player. But I am a good player. I most certainly am a good player. So, there's nothing to hide. No reason not to. Look at that damage. And No, dude. Oh, I'm sad now. Okay, well. Oh, I just proto belted into the zap. I thought for sure my QW would kill her. This is such a perfect timing for that to happen. I'm a good player, ints. Good job. But the point is, yeah, I am overall a good player. But my friends that I would play with are definitely far better than me. And they would make these games, especially from a recording standpoint, a complete stomp. Because then it would be not only two Smurfs just doing what they do in gold or low platinum, anything like that. It would also just be two people that know exactly what to be doing in most points of the game, which is more important than most people give it credit for. And that is another point I wanted to make. Actually, let me finish talking about duoing first, and also let me mention another thing about tilting. If you are going into games and you're finding that you're tilting a lot, there are ways to try and help not let that happen. And one of the best ways to do it is to make sure that you're going into your games with a clear mind. With a clear mind, with all your focus on the game, you're not distracted, you're not, thinking about everything else under the sun. You're just thinking about the game. Because if you're thinking about other things, you will inevitably get distracted. Oh, that's a bummer. No, it's okay, man. That was my fault. I tried to burst it, but he threw a snowball at the same time, so that's okay. That's my fault. That was totally my fault. So, happens. I know that would tilt some people right there. Now, let's see. Can he get this slow? He did get this slow. Ooh, I'm gonna proto belt here and beep. Pick up one kill, not bust the ultimate yet. And that's pretty important stuff, dude. Remember to save your skills for when you actually need to use them. Do not overvalue them, but do save them for when you need to use them. I wouldn't have gotten more from using my ultimate there. In fact, it would have just kind of stopped me from getting even more. Oh boy. Oh, that's awkward. I'm just getting the fuck out of here. Overvalue your abilities so you can use them like that. Feels good. So we'll just get this Baron. Tibbers is going to tank it. We got a pick, and we also are just going to be able to get the Baron off of it. Good timing on that will result in it for free. Draven's heading top to catch that wave. I'm going mid to catch this wave, and then we can go back again. But back to the duoing topic. Where was I going with that? I know exactly where I was going with that. Don't let me fool you like I have to ask you about it. I know exactly where I was going. So, as I was saying before, duoing is obviously just straight up important. But why is it important? Because you have the communication. You have the synergy between a lot of different roles. So, I'm going to tell you guys about the synergies that there are. Some of them very, very clear compared to the others. Others not as clear, but still pretty clear. And this, ooh, this is going to be so good. Maybe. Oh, this is juicy. This is juicy. Beep. So get one kill. Hit him with that, and come on. Come on, you bitch. Haha! I'll take two of them, plus the exhaust. But let's go over some of the synergies right now. Obviously, communication, I think it's pretty clear why communication is an important skill. I think it's pretty clear why communication is important in general, as far as a game like this, where needing to know where other enemies are, or what objectives are spawning, or where everybody needs to be pushing, where all the minions are. Like, most people might not have noticed there's a big wave top right now. This is getting slammed by the turret, and these are slamming into the turret. Someone should handle these, or the turret's just going to take a bunch of damage, and all this money is going to go to waste. So had someone, obviously, if they were alive, it would have been a little different story, but the point remains. And you cannot underestimate the value of communication. It also lets you stack CC better, do more damage. Like, you can sit there and ask something simple like, hey, like, do you think you'll have enough damage to do something in this? Please. Actually, oh, thank you. So I had to ping my death cap. Needing these communication right there. This lets me get my death cap when I'm back. So TY. I'll be huge now. I'll be huge now. But the synergies that you should look for as duo partners. If you're a mid laner, you can duo with anybody. It doesn't matter. Mid laner duos with anybody phenomenally. Mid laner can help everywhere on the map, every lane. An AD carry, if you're a mid laner that gets strong and then gets an AD carry ahead, it's pretty hard to lose a game at that point. Honestly, it really is. Even though I would say that's the least beneficial role to do mid and AD carry because they just don't help each other back and forth per se. But I do think it's still good. I do think it's still good. If you're looking to play top laner, you should duo with a mid laner or a jungler, because then your jungle can camp for you. You can help him in his jungle by pushing out your lane. Or if he's invading, you push out your lane and you can go respond in his jungle faster than other people can. And, you know, if you're a mid laner, doing with a top laner, you two obviously can roam to each other's lanes all the time. Talk about when would be a good time, summoner spells, all that jazz. If you are a support, or if you're an AD carry, you want to support. You want to be bot lane together. The difference in just effectiveness between a bot laner that is, you know, actually on comms with their support and chatting with their support, between an AD carry and a bot laner that aren't doing anything together, is staggering. It's just absurd. So I probably should have flashed on that. And then also, you can do jungle and support. That's another very potent combo that a lot of people kind of overlook, because it's just, ooh, okay, yep. This is one of those times, boom! Get him, Tibbs, get him, Tibbs. Oh, she's kiting, but she, oh, golly, goodness gracious. Use the power of Tibbers there and his Molten Shield effect. If you use Molten Shield on yourself, Tibbers also gets it. So I used Molten Shield and then Jinx shot it and killed herself. But the jungle support synergy comes with the fact that that means you can start duo ganking wherever. If you tell your AD carry to play safe when you're playing support, you can do whatever you like. Literally whatever you like. Which I'll go over how to play safe here in a second, because I realize that a lot of people don't actually have a full grasp on what that even means. Like, play safe, like, what do you mean? Because a lot of people just don't get it. It's not that they're dumb or incapable or anything of that sort. It's just not something that people have been taught before. So I'll tell you, and it's not hard. But also consider things like a jungler and a support can go into the enemy jungle together and help get vision. That's huge. Being able to help each other get vision around any sort of objective that's coming up is tremendous. So do not underestimate that. Go for the things you can. I'm gonna, ooh, this is good. This is good. Noticing that there's a fight coming up and we have a flank. Or she is just gonna fuck me in the ass. Good lord. Well, that's like their biggest member of their team by a lot in exchange for me, which is good, but we also still have an 8-3 Tristana up. So as much as it sucks, at least they'll still be able to defend. They will still be able to defend. I got fucked. That was really good on Riven's part. What can you do? What can you do? I could have stayed behind them a little bit and not been the one to get initiated on. But since the death timers are so short right now, we don't really have too much to lose. They're going to give the Infernal Drake, I think. Because it's just Riven dead. Yeah, they're going to get Infernal. That's fine. That is fine. But let's see. What else do I need to talk about really badly? Things that I know I really, really need to talk about. Laning. I know it's a little late in the game for laning. I probably should have spoke about laning while I was laning, but it skipped or passed out over my mind, and I had it lower on my list because I thought about it later too. But you need to know how to lane, and not only do you need to know how to lane, you need to know how to handle laning on a game-to-game basis. So that does not mean, hey, I am playing X champion. I will always go in on Y, and then do my damage, and leave. I mean, at a very, very basic level, that is trading, yes. So, boop. Go ahead and get that catch right there. And, oh, this is good, baby. Oh, this is so good. Alright. Well, serve him up a Ford or Dunyan Rings. Tristana the Madman. That's good. That's good. We should just do Baron. Since we don't have any waves pushing, we didn't think about this play in advance. We fucked up by not thinking about this play in advance and getting any waves pushing. So that was our mistake, but at least we get the Baron. We got a lot of kills, and now we can go get the waves. But let's sell this, get Morellos. 40% CDR as soon as I'm level 18 because I'm using scaling CDR runes, knowing what build I'm going to be going for in this game, as well as the Annie runes. Because you don't really want Ionian boots on Annie, and you don't really want... like, you can get Zonias, it is good, but I prefer the Proto Belt whenever I'm playing Annie. I feel like it just gives me so much more effectiveness, especially with that increase in the range of your ultimate and initiation. Really good stuff. But as far as laning, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys how to trade, how to lane. I will say work on CSing. I can't really just tell you how to CS. Obviously, it's like, oh, you kill a minion when it's low health. But understand that CSing is incredibly important. It is something that you should actively practice, actively practice and know how to do very well. So she just wants to heal me, but I'm just going to back because there's no reason for me not to at this point. I'll just get the home guard effect and run back. But learning to CS effectively is so important. It's so much money. If you want to put it in perspective, 15 CS is about the same amount of gold as getting a kill. So if you can CS effectively, there you go. You don't need to get kills to be fed. You don't need to get kills to be huge. You just need to CS. No, Teemo is coming behind them, so I need to follow that. I just want to get this pushing not super hard under our turret, but I had to get it pushing back. Unless like these guys want to go for that. Draven. Oh, this is... Huh! Oh, what do you mean I missed? Oh, no. Oh, no. It's okay, but what do you mean? Oh, nice job, Tristana. Good job. All right. Nunu's tanking it. We don't have a minion wave here, so we do not have the minion damage reduction on turrets. But this is still a really good idea to tank it, because we get this and we get the inhibitor now. Gonna do this and wait for that shield to fade off of her so she cannot negate my stun, and she is dead. She is dead. And oh, he's got ghost. He's ghosting. This is good. Yeah, we just won the game off of this pretty much. I didn't even get to talk about like everything I wanted to talk about. But I will actually sit down, even though the game is done, and talk about the rest of the stuff I wanted to talk with you guys about, because it's important, and you came here to find all this shit out. So you guys saw I was roaming a lot. I was making sure that the waves are pushed in specific ways all the time during that game, making it very easy. Fortunately, we didn't even need to deal with like shitty teammates or tilting teammates, but that's another thing that you should know how to deal with. If your teammates are super hardcore tilting, how to handle that? Well, it's not that hard. A lot of people sit there and like want to flame them back, right? You'll see your teammates being super negative. You just be like, you want to be like, man, shut up. It's fine. But that doesn't do anything other than escalate the situation into a negative, situation, right? Like, it just makes everything worse when you tell someone like, oh man, shut up, you just suck. And it's like, well, you know, maybe they are having a bad game. But keep in mind, Draven was 0-4 at one point. And he just didn't tilt. He did a wonderful job of not tilting, and he ended 9-6-10. He came back staggeringly well. Tristana, beautiful game. 11-3-10, 237 CS. Good job, dude. Really good job. Sometimes you'll get these teammates that are good, sometimes you won't. But if we didn't, think about what a good position I was in to carry this game as Annie. I am so good at catching people out. If I'm in the right place where I need to be, like you guys saw when I was in that river bush and killed the Twisted Fate before the Baron, blow him up. He's not there anymore. It's instantly a 4v5. Do things like that as the game goes on. Objectives are yours. And that was the result of thinking ahead. We had vision around Baron, so I knew where I could and couldn't be. I knew that someone had swept the bush that I was in earlier, and we saw where Twisted Fate was off on the side alone due to our wards. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll stand here. He'll come try and check it, and I'll murder him. So thinking ahead is important. Also, thinking ahead considers things such as, so let's think about this. You are purple side of the map, or red side, whatever. Sorry, I'm colorblind. But right side of the map, the top side of the map, like, we'll go with top and bottom side of the map. So you are this side of the map, and an infernal dragon is spawning. But your top lane has a tremendous wave pushing towards your tower that is half health. Mid lane is fine. You've already shoved out mid lane. And like the good player you are as the bot laner you're playing in this game, you had already shoved out the bot lane knowing there's 30 seconds till this dragon spawns. But your top laner is a goofball and he took Ignite. So right now in this situation, you have to think ahead. Are they going to send someone up top to try and kill the tower? Or are they going to let the minions do it and then try and go for a 5v4 around the dragon because they'll know that you want to fight for it? In that case, due to the fact that your top laner would not have teleport, and it's an Infernal Drake, remember that detail, it is worth losing a tower for. If you think you can win 5v5, or if you let them start the dragon first to be taking damage from the dragon before you go for a 5v5, you should all group up, try and tell your team to do this, to go fight for that dragon. Or, if you see an Infernal Dragon is spawning a minute and 30 seconds from now, use that time to either try and get another character on your team to come with you to go ward in their jungle, and also start getting your lanes into the right spot. Get your lanes pushing, because that is so important. If you do not push lanes, that is how people get objectives in return for you taking ones for yourself. If you do push the lanes though, you either have people trying to get them pushed back, or you have places to go right after what you've done to push more and get more objectives out of it. Because say you pushed all 3 lanes, you go for this dragon, and you kill 3 of them in the process. So it's a 2v5, you got the dragon, and now you have pushing lanes. You do not want to back here. No backing. No. None of that. There's only 2 of them, and unless it's like a fucking 25-0 Twitch and some other absolutely absurd team killer, group as 5 and run it down mid. Use that minion wave that you prepped before this situation even started to go get more towers. Enforce whatever your power is. Get ahead. So, really important right there. Huge, huge, huge stuff. Let's see. I already went over how to handle lane on a game-to-game basis, talk about how to win game and how I do it. I already did with all the roaming and generally just decent laning. Went over all these champions. What else do we need to talk about? How to handle teammates. I did not mention that. Handling teammates is simple. There is a button on the League of Legends client when you're in game. When you're in game, I know this is going to blow your goddamn mind. You little cuties. This is going to blow your mind. You hold tab, and there will be a button next to whatever champion is being a little fucking, undercooked pancake. Like, obviously not a shining member of the community, and it happens. People are angry. It happens. They will be mad. They will be tilted. There will be people doing this stuff. The best thing you can do, in most cases, is just not let it affect you. Because that's unfortunately what all you can do in most cases. Because if you're mad and someone tells you to calm down, are you going to calm down? No. Fuck no, you're not, dude. You're going to be like, mad? Me? Shut the fuck up! And you'll get even angrier. And that's... People think that when they're trying to help someone who's tilting, that it's like, yes, on the surface, you are trying to help. You are trying to be nice. You are trying to encourage them, do the right thing, all that jazz. But realistically, If you've ever been really mad about something, you know that someone telling you, just relax, or, oh man, you should have done this better. It's like, yeah, I'm in my side, I'm just trying to help them, I'm just trying to teach them. But on their side, they're being condescended to. They're being just treated like a child because now they're throwing a temper tantrum and you're trying to babysit them. It doesn't help. So what do? Mute them. It's the best thing you can do is mute them and keep playing your best. Because you could have more influence on a game as one single champion than you might think. I don't know if you guys saw it. There were multiple occasions where I had a tremendous impact on this game in everywhere. Except top lane. I just kind of ran top lane and died. But that happens. That does happen. So yeah, if you have bad teammates, or not bad teammates, but angry teammates, mute them, play your best. It's the best you can do. Understand that League of Legends is a team-based game. It is not 1v9. It is 5v5. There will never, ever, 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 ever be a time where you can avoid that. Okay? It is 5v5, and that means there is you and 4 other people versus 5 other people. I think that's pretty obvious, but for some reason a lot of people forget it, and they think that everyone else other than them is just robots and should shut the hell up and do everything perfectly. That is not the case. You have to be able to adapt to the situation, not let it bother you, and know what to do in a dynamic scenario. Now, the other things I wanted to talk about that I didn't get a good chance to in game because unfortunately Twisted Fate did basically the same thing I was doing to him. And I can explain that in this situation. Obviously Twisted Fate is a champion that really wants to roam, like really badly. And Annie is another good champion that really wants to roam pretty badly. But I know that, especially given this situation, with a Thresh bot lane, right? With a Thresh bot lane compared to Sona and Tristana. If I let Twisted Fate do whatever he wants, clear my waves and then just teleport bottom, if he stuns Sona, she's dead. She's dead. And then they get a lead. So what I did that game was I handled lane on a game-to-game basis, knowing what I had to do in the matchup. I sat there, I pushed the waves right back to him as fast as I could, and just made it so he couldn't leave lane. I don't think there was a single time where he was able to actually teleport out of lane to go gank one of my other lanes. I remember him teleporting into his own jungle to kill our Nunu when he was invading, but other than that, if he went to other lanes, I followed him. And it resulted in a net gain for us because that is what Twisted Fate does. And if I can shut that down and not let him use what his champion is good at, then that's really good for us. So that falls kind of under wave control and pushing. And there are multiple times in so many scenarios, and I'm probably going to make an entire video about this alone. But I can give you a very basic rundown of wave control and pushing, and even back timing. Back timing, hugely important. So, where do you even start? Wave control is manipulating a minion wave to be in whatever position you want it to be, whether that be freezing, pushing, slow pushing, pushing towards you, anything like that, because there'll be situations where you would want all of these. If, for example, you are ahead. If you're ahead in lane and the enemy laner is, trying to like, if you're really ahead in lane, the enemy laner is trying to do something, you want to freeze, because if you can freeze it pretty close to your tower, not only does that mean if they want minions, they have to run up to them. That means when they run up, you can either go on them yourself, or you can have a jungler just sitting right there waiting for him to go get a minion. If he doesn't go get a minion, he's missing out on golden experience, especially if you know your jungler isn't there, so you can stand past the wave that you're freezing and be very aggressive, knowing that if he walks up to you, you will kill him. If he doesn't, he loses golden experience. It's very oppressive. You do not need to just shit on your laner through kills, as long as you know how to manage them. And that's just one example of freezing. If you want another good example of when to freeze, think about, let's see, if an enemy laner backs and you don't have time to fully push it out and get that to where they would be back to neutral lanes. That's another time you would want to freeze, because you are actually denying them so many more minions by letting their wave accumulate and kill yours. And then they all die. So, as long as you have his whole minion wave accumulated and he's killing all of your minions before the laner gets back, that's another point of freezing, because it's killing so many of your minions off so rapidly, and it forces him to not be able to get any of them. Other times to push, though. If you know that you need to push a lane and get it pushing before an objective, that's generally the time that you're going to be doing it. The other time that you'll be pushing really hard is if they did back and you know you have time to get it all the way under the tower, or you need to back. So you would see them back, you would push it under the tower and then go back yourself. That gives you time to go back to base, buy your items, and then come back to lane again. And like I said, this is... oh my god, there's a lot more about wave control that I can talk about in just a couple minutes. But I'll go over back timing as well real fast here, because a lot of people back at horrible times. I don't know if you guys remember, but in the game I did try and say, I'm going to go back at one point. And I didn't. I didn't back because Twisted Fate had started shoving the wave really quickly. I would have missed so much had I gone back when I did. I was in no immediate danger of dying. I just wasn't full health and I wanted to spend my money. So what I did was I just stayed in lane instead, kept getting the minions, and then I waited until I could back at a better time. Always try and think when you can back. Just think. Now I know this sounds basic, actually, and it just popped into my head. But you guys, even if you're the worst League of Legends player ever, I have faith that you're not idiots, okay? And I'm not saying this to sound facetious or to sound like an asshole. Truly, people are a lot smarter than most of them give themselves credit for. It's simple. It's a true statement. Not everyone is a genius. I'm not a genius. I just play video games. I can't even think of words to say during those video games half the time. And I can still play this game phenomenally. But the point is, if you actually take a second to just stop, look at the map, and think about it, you can probably find the answer to what you need to do in most situations at any given time. So, for instance, let's talk about this. If you are a support and there's no objectives on the map, there's no vision on the map, what you would think you would need to do is ward, right? Naturally. But where do you ward? Well, let's look at the objectives that'll be coming up. Is Baron coming up in the next 3 minutes? No. Is Dragon coming up in the next 3 minutes? No. Okay, where do you ward? Let's look at the towers. Look at the state of the towers they have up. Are any of them low? Are any of them low? You can ward around that tower and start sieging down that tower, because if you can get wards around that area of the map, that opens you up to being able to get catches. That opens more of them up, because if you have a sweeper, you can run around and sweep all the wards that they have out of that area, and then they're scared. You can get that tower very quickly, or you can find a catch very quickly and then get the tower anyways. Or say there's no dragon or baron or low towers. What do you do then? Well, is there any any buff spawning soon? They're blue or red buff. You can try and get vision around there, because blue and red buffs, they are going to be claimed by someone. Someone is going to go get those buffs. If you ward up around there, then you know that you can say, hey, someone come with me. We can get a catch as soon as they go for it. And it's things like that. In a more obvious situation, you have Baron spawning in 2 minutes. There is no vision. What do? Boom. Ward Baron. I know it sounds crazy obvious, but a lot of people don't do these things just because they don't stop and think about it for a second when they're looking at the map. They do not just think. And that will probably help you more than anything else if you sit there, stop for a second, open your scoreboard, and analyze all what's happening in the game and on the map right now. You need to be able to understand what to do at any given time, which is more information for another time. My throat is starting to hurt, honestly, from talking for an hour, an hour straight so far. Um, but I feel like I've said a lot of things that I need to think about. And what I want you guys to do now is ask me questions. If there are things that I did not go over in this game that you feel like are very important, ask me questions. I might answer them in the comments directly to you, or they might come up in the next couple videos, because I know I've been doing a lot of off meta picks, or the OP picks, and just more having fun than teaching. But a lot of people are really trying to make this end of the season push to get to their rank that they want to get. Like, you want to get gold before this season ends, man. You can do it, especially if you're anywhere higher than, say, actually, I guess realistically you could do it from anywhere. Honestly, if you're winning a decent amount, it's not that hard. Obviously, games can be very hard to win, but you can do it if you really want to. Try to utilize everything I was saying in this game. Play the champions I was mentioning, all that jazz. It will help. It really will. But like I said, please leave questions that you guys might have. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot, and I will try and answer them in the comments or in future videos. I also want to do an in-depth video on wave control, pushing, back timing, all that stuff. Also how to prep CS as a support. If there's anything else that I mentioned in this game that you guys think I need to go in more detail on, I would be more than happy to. But for the most part, what I do to win games isn't that crazy complicated. It's roaming, for the most part. Roaming and understanding where, say, if someone is top lane, okay, if we have 4 people in bot lane and I am in mid lane, what do? Is that top laner a split pusher that will fuck 3 turrets before I do anything else? If yes, I go stop him. If no, I go bottom, fuck their team, and then we get a 5-man push compared to his 1-man push. Or that depends on if Dragon's up, is Baron up, all this good stuff. So it all does feel very obvious if you stop or sit down and think about it. I recommend you guys do that more while you're playing. Also, analyze your own replays. You would be very surprised by the amount of your own mistakes that you will see and be able to point out just from watching yourself. And that's not me saying, haha, you suck. Not again. I'm not saying that about anybody. But if you sit down, go into a replay, and watch yourself play, I guarantee you that you will be able to see what your mistakes were if you're just sitting there and looking at them. So I recommend you do that as well. And I think I gotta be done talking here because I'm hurting. Look at that. They did so much more damage than us. And we still won. They did so much more damage than us, and we still won. But if you guys did enjoy this different kind of video, do make sure you leave a like and a comment. Really just let me out. Please do comment all your questions. Would really love to help you guys out, because I know a lot of people really want to get where they want to be in this season or in future seasons, or just be better players. Hopefully this was helpful to at least some of you. I know it was only covering a lot of things on kind of a basic level, but that was the plan for this one, because if you're trying to just climb to, say, gold, if you're just trying to learn new things to climb with, you don't need to go into the super detailed versions of everything. Just understand the concepts of them, and you will be able to apply them and learn them as you utilize them. You will, obviously, if you're actually thinking about it, as I keep saying, you will be able to understand the effects of the choices you're making, or understand the effects of anything that's happening on the map and how you react to it. So, going from there, that's all I got for you guys. Like I already said, leave a like and comment if you did enjoy this video, or if it helps you out, make sure you guys ask me your questions. And I'll be back tomorrow with more videos for you guys. And as always, I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace! Actually, before this goes out, you guys can feel free to also join my Discord or follow me on Twitter. Tweet at me, send me messages on Discord. If you have very specific questions, I might be able to help them still, just to explain a situation or anything of that nature. But with all that said, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Take it easy, guys.